Hello to the people who have survived 2020.
That is debatable. That's in my intro for my parents' episode, so hopefully y'all like that. I know everyone missed Molly, but Molly's back now.
I'm back and I'm alive and kicking.
But I had to start it off being like, did we survive? I don't know. Hello? Let's start off. Let's start off with the SOS moment today, which is what? Democracy?
Yeah,
in general?
just, the state of this godforsaken country. And that's been an SOS moment for a long time. However, recent events have really just pushed it to the edge of, all cinematic, dramatic, apocalyptic, sci-fi, horror film, all these genres of movies that we all know and love have all become reality.
It's just so crazy how we were this close to Handmaid's Tale becoming reality. Like, we were this close to witnessing Congress, men and women being murdered on live TV.
No, I honestly, the Handmaid's Tale thing haunted me very aggressively over the last year because just
I can't even watch it anymore.
Being slow, like not even slowly, but just like stripped away and taking all these steps backwards in history and just literally what felt like 6 months away from like women losing their right to vote and like slavery being reinstated.
Yeah, that show's a documentary at this point, or it was almost a documentary. Like, it's so shameful how we've gotten here. And I don't know. I mean, how are you guys, the audience, but also how are you, Molly? Like, I just feel like this was a really weird anxiety-induced week for me, but I'm sure a lot of people.
Yeah, it was. And it's like the saving grace, obviously, is the turnout or the results from Georgia.
Thank God.
Because honestly, like,
that was going to be what this episode was really going to be about, was Georgia and like the new policies and all these progressive things that we can get done now and that we can talk about. And no.
And that holds, but like, we cannot just roll over this complete. And the thing is, like, with what happened at the Capitol, I would love to say that I'm surprised, but I'm not. Surprised is not the word, but obviously disgusted, disappointed, embarrassed, all of those things. Surprise is not one of them, unfortunately, which is in itself surprising. And it's just like, they're even shouting. So at the end of the day, the thing I think about, like, when it comes to, are we going to impeach Trump in these next couple weeks, is if he does get impeached, it's not only Democrats that benefit. In fact, any Republican who's hoping to run for office in 2024 benefits, because it stops him from being able to run. He has proven that, any Republican candidate is not going to want to go up against him. As much of an idiot as he is, his base has shown themselves to be blindingly loyal in the most idiotic of ways, but they're there. They're there, and like the underbelly of America has risen to the surface, and they're rubbing their eyes with onion towels and claiming that they were maced. So they're here.
We're starting a revolution.
We're storming the Capitol. It's a revolution. But the thing is, like,
why that bitch like doxed herself too? Like, Elizabeth from Knoxville. These are all the dumbest people alive. Sorry, like the dumbest.
They really are. And the thing is, like, something else I think about is in all the little mini interview clips of people who were at the Capitol that day, or Republican candidates as of the whole past year, anything that they run on, it's all a negative. It's fear. It's trying to stoke fear because actual platforms aren't there. And the same with when you look at the people who were at the Capitol, storming the Capitol. If you ask them what they stand for, they don't have anything to say that they stand for. What they have to say is what they're against, which is a false. Yeah, but it's also like, to the false theory of the election being rigged. At the end of the day, that was a rumor that was started, and instead of having it be validated by anything legit, the way you confirm the way you confirm a rumor is instead they got a lot of people to believe this falsehood and then used the number of people who believe it as their proof.
Yeah, it used See, it's so interesting because these particular brand of Republicans, Trumplicans, I guess they like to be called, or just we've just named them that. They are so they're easy pickings. You know, they are disenfranchised. A lot of them, they're not. I feel like the demographic for a lot of these people are not educated. They are poor, white, uneducated people that they I mean their allotment in life or lack thereof, white supremacy deals with that too. They're affected by white supremacy in the fact that they are the way they are.
The fact that they believe themselves to be more elite than, let's say, the black working class, they're white working class, so they're therefore one step above. That in of itself that is white supremacy. That's how it was even instated. You have to divide the public in order to, or divide the masses in order to conquer them. So all poor and working class people, which is honestly a lot of the country, unite. We could make some changes, but if you divide them and make them think they're divided, make one group of them feel that they are better than or above the other, you divide your enemy and then they're not strong anymore. That's what's been done.
Exactly. You lie to these people, you know how easy it is to manipulate them. That's why it's not even on Trump right now. I mean, of course it is, but it's on these senators that not only like started the day being like, I'm going to oppose, because it's all fucking theater. I always say, if I'm going to be a politician, I'm going to hire everybody behind the scenes of Hamilton. I'm going to hire Lin-Manuel Miranda. I'm going to hire Tommy Kail, the director. They are going to be my campaign advisors, because it's just fucking theater. Them showing up that day to oppose the election, oppose the results, was all theater, because they knew at the end of the day, they weren't going to get the votes. But they did it anyway. They wanted to incite it. When Josh Hawley came out right before the madness actually started and held up a fist to them, that it was all fucking theater. And then after, when they were under siege and they all hid in bunkers, whatever they were doing, and fearing for their fucking lives, they still came out and still voted. Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, fucking, I forget the other names, but they are the worst forms of humans. They are trash. They are fucking fleas on rats, because they feed off of the ignorance of people, because they know they can manipulate and then benefit off of that for political gain in the long run, because they don't believe it's rigged. They don't believe Trump. They just want that base.
It's a power grab. All of it is for power. And that's what happens when you have positions of power. The people who should be in those positions, if those positions exist, the people who should be in positions of power are specifically the people who do not want that, because they understand what that means. So the people who chase positions of power are by definition the ones who shouldn't actually have it when it comes to this. And that's how we end up where we are. And there was a video released of where Trump was when that
I saw that
on the Capitol, in their bunker. They have like, what's that song?
She's like Gina or something, or
Gloria. Yeah, that was playing. It's a party atmosphere down there. They're all taking videos. They're all like,
Kimberly Guilfoyle is like,
she's dancing to the music while the Capitol is under siege. And also, I mean, obviously we all saw the video of them being let in to the Capitol, the gates being opened by law enforcement. And
weird.
There's that. And then there's the noose that was set up.
There were a couple
nooses, full on just outside the Capitol, just nooses. They were actually shouting. This goes back to like how much of a coward Pence is, for example, when it comes to like, if we're trying to figure out if Trump is going to be impeached, because they were shouting, kill Pence or murder.
Let's hang Pence. Yeah.
That's why. Yeah. They were shouting, hang Pence. They're not even that's why I like that you said, this breed of Republicans, because sadly this has become unanimous with the Republican Party over the last 4 years. But I mean, these people are like, what's the word? They're just like completely taking over what it means to be a Republican, which is,
they're Nazis, they're fascists.
But yeah, exactly. But they're, confiscating those words. Just like they've confiscated the American flag. If I see somebody driving down with American flag hanging out the back of their truck, I know it for I 90%. I'm like certain that.
Shout out to the PowerPoint episode.
Oh yeah, exactly. So it's like the very flag of my own country. If I see it hanging outside of your house, the fact that I assume that you are not a liberal and you don't believe the way I believe is highly disturbing. Yeah, I assume, so honestly. Yeah.
It's so bad. And it's interesting because I think this happened yesterday or a couple days ago. Now Trump is out of Twitter. And not only that, Parler is banned from Apple, banned from Amazon, banned from Google. Get fucked.
Also, I do have to say, well, I'm very glad that happened. It should have happened a long time ago. And that is absolutely. I think that the reason Zuckerberg finally took a stand is not because of what they did at the Capitol. It's not because of any morals. It's because a white woman died.
Oh, that's not the reason why I think. But I think, I'm not saying that has probably, I'm sure that has something to do with it too. Oh yeah, I don't believe it. There's even a lot of fucking, even more liberal leaning news people, or like, oh, I feel bad for her family. Like maybe I do, because I know a lot of the families of these people are like, we tried to tell them, like they're all the same stories of I tried, but like she knew what the fuck she was doing. They're making fun of the like, oh, why aren't all the why aren't Black Lives Matter being like, say her name? I'm not gonna say this bitch's name who knowingly drove from California to DC to be a part of the fucking problem and got herself. She tried to fucking jump, got warned ahead of time
into the Capitol. And here's the thing: like when a teenager is walking down the street, bought something from 7-Eleven and is walking home and gets,
or Breonna Taylor who is in her bed sleeping. That's when I'm going to say her name, assholes. I don't give a shit about this bitch. I don't.
Comparisons are unreal. And it actually, I would love to see a brain scan of these people who think that they're making comparisons between what happened at the Capitol and the Black Lives Matter protests. We all saw the picture of what the Capitol building looked like during the Black Lives Matter protest, just hilarious. Swarming with National Guard, armed with guns. Meanwhile, they say, what was it, Thursday? They're like, the National Guard is coming into DC. They will be unarmed, but they will be in full protective gear. So they're not even going to bring, after this happened at the Capitol, oh, we are sending the National Guard in. They're not going to be armed. The way they were, even in LA during the Black Lives Matter downtown. So the marches weren't even going on downtown at this time. I was driving there one day. The entire Staples Center, which everything shut down. This is like June, like mid-pandemic, nothing's even open. The protests that day were all in Hollywood, and I'm downtown. It's barren, and there's AK-47s, all these like armed, just lining the Staples Center. No one's around. What is this? Like, what is this? Some flex, some display for what? And meanwhile, when this happens at the Capitol, there's what? You get let in?
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say too is that before I forget, the reason that Zuckerberg and Facebook and all these other social media sites that decided to deplatform Trump is, I think, sadly, and a lot of people think sadly, is because they know that we have the House, we have the Senate, and they're no longer protected when it comes to the government anymore. So they're fucked.
Of those things, and I honestly do. Absolutely, that's a big part of it, and I really think a big part of it is like, okay, cop died, white woman died. We got to do something now. We got to do something. And another thing about the video I was watching, was Don Lemon and Cuomo, and they were saying, this is like the day it happened or the day after, but they were talking about the woman who died. And, we're going to show you the beginning of this footage. And they cuts out right before the graphic part where she's like, you can see blood coming out of her mouth and everything. They didn't show that. And they said, we're cutting out this part. And Cuomo said, oh yeah, like, I have to say, like, the network is making us, but I don't think we should cut this out because we censor you guys from these things. But in reality, and then Don Lemon had a really good point, and he was like, we showed Ahmaud Arbery. We showed George Floyd dying. We're going to cut out and not show this white woman dying. He's like, show it. Show it.
You don't really see that much, to be honest. It's not even like that.
I saw one where you do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But at the same time, it's not as bad as watching George Floyd.
That's what I'm saying. It was like I got the side view of it from that video that was circulating, and it was I think afterward it was pretty gruesome. I mean, it's not great. It's not great to see somebody die. It's just so fucking hilarious because the George Floyd thing, the Eric Garner thing was way fucking more traumatizing.
Yeah, and it's not just spread like an eye for an eye, like spread more violence, make people watch this. But the point is, we live in a country that will shelter us from seeing harm done to a white person and will blast it. God forbid, and yet we'll blast it when it happens to Black people. And there are, yes, it does need to be seen. The atrocities do need to be seen because a lot of white people saw those videos and were like, what? Like thought it was the first time that it happened with George Floyd. And it does need to be known. However, the inconsistencies and the white supremacy are rampant. And anybody at this point, anybody who denies that is literally mentally disabled. And I'm not using that as a, like, no one come for me with the politically correct atmosphere of today, but like truly there's something not connecting and firing in your brain correctly. If you do not understand this, it is willful ignorance. You're a dumbass.
Yeah, there's a mental health problem in this country.
For sure racist. At that point, you are for sure racist.
Yeah. But what I try to remember is that they're no longer the minority, but that doesn't make them. I just like, fuck all the fucking, we're the silent majority. No, you're fucking not. You're the loudest minority in politics. And don't worry about what Trump's going to do in 2024, because what Trump's really going to do is create Trump media, and they're going to have somewhere to go. And that's like the only, because I like the fact that he's deplatformed, because it doesn't make any fucking sense.
I love that.
And his like some of his people under him, I forget who, were also deplatformed. I mean, you can't just go around and think that you can incite the violence that you do by using these platforms. And what's fucking amazing is that what's trending on Twitter now and all these like platforms, because Parler's now going to, is that all these Trumplicans are saying, oh, this is so Orwellian. You know, they're getting rid of, this is all about freedom of speech. It's free speech is at risk right now. And if you read, it's like, what's actually Orwellian is if the government was the one censoring. And it's just so funny. This is what capitalism is, guys. This is what we've been trying to tell you. Like, these businesses are free to make these choices. Like, where was this outrage with the gay couple that wanted to get married and use this bakery, and the bakery said no because they're a business and they have every right to do it?
And, freedom of speech is not freedom to lie. I was listening to Brian Tyler Cohen's podcast. Do you listen to his?
No.
Really good.
No. I follow him on TikTok, though.
Oh, yeah. I love him.
Yeah.
He was saying, he's like, freedom of speech is not running into a full movie theater and shouting fire when there's no fire.
Right.
You can't say that is freedom of speech. That's actually a crime. And so there is a line with freedom of speech, but people just sweep everything under that. Yeah. So what's happening and saying that this election was rigged when there is not one iota of proof, the only proof that they pull up is how many Trump supporters believe that the election was rigged, which is not proof. And so at the end of the day, it's like, you have to understand what even freedom of speech means.
Yeah. And we were calling this from day one. There was even a senator, the video was going around. I think it was a senator from Hawaii, but he's really cool. He at some conference was talking about what was going to happen on November 3rd. And it was basically like Trump is going to see these votes coming in because primarily his voters will vote on election day. So that night, he's going to see those numbers and declare a premature victory. And then he's going to see the mail-in votes come in, which will be primarily Biden supporters, Biden votes, and say the election was rigged. This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. And it wasn't only this guy. Everyone was saying that. And that's exactly what happened, because the shit that went down on election day with him, the shit's been going down for 4 years, and the shit that went down on January 6th. We've been telling you assholes, like, this is what was going to happen. And the fact that everything's happening so fast with Parler getting deplatformed, or not even just that, like Trump and his people being deplatformed, this was a long time coming. Why is this shocking to you idiots? He's fat Hitler. He's like fucking fat.
Well, American he's not as smart as Hitler, and that's, maybe the only saving grace, because that was when somebody is that evil and then highly, highly intelligent, that's where it becomes the Holocaust. And Trump is not at that level in his intelligence, in his evil and his idiocracy.
No, he has something wrong up there. Like, I think it was Senator Ben Sasse, who's a Republican, and he's actually like, he's fucking sucks, don't get me wrong, but he's like, oh yeah, I'm ready to vote for his impeachment. He said in the White House, I think he was there firsthand, that during the rioting part, not even just the peaceful protest part of the day, the rioting part, Trump was giddy. He's like, he was looking around confused that no one else was as giddy as him during the rioting. And people have been like, this is not a good idea. This is not a good thing.
And he says, his quote when he was forced to ask them to go home, he said, what was it? It was like, I love you all.
You're very special. We love you.
Very special. We love you. Go home. That's what it was. Mm-hmm. And, at the end of the day, you literally cannot, you think it is just outrageous that Colin Kaepernick would take a knee in silence with his head still bowed during the national anthem. And that's disrespectful to the flag. Yet if you tear it up, wear it on your shoulders, you have what?
Just so funny. I also think how desensitized our generation is at everything, like we just have to, like, the laughing that I'm doing, and we're all kind of doing when you think about, like, we couldn't just fucking take a knee. Like, we couldn't do that, but white people can fucking do whatever the fuck they want, storm the Capitol, and still Fox News and these motherfuckers are in a fucking tizzy about Trump being off of Twitter. Go fuck yourself. Like, we as a generation are so disillusioned because we watched, like, people fall to their death and planes crash into towers when we were, like, 11, and then we went through war, we went through so many things, and now this, January 6th, and I just feel like we can't be shocked. Like, it's not in our nature to be shocked at shit like this.
And unfortunately, but honestly, if someone would have told us this 2 years ago, that all of this would happen, we would be shocked. But the fact is, these last 4 years, yes, we would.
I don't think I would. 2 years ago?
Oh, sorry, before Trump. I meant before.
Oh, yeah. If Obama was in office, I'd be like, no fucking way. We're fucking
administration. Yeah. But, like, yeah, no, not 2 years ago. But like, in general, I'm like, this is something that has slowly built into now we adapt. We're an adaptable species. We adapt. This has become our new normal. We know it's not for better, it's for worse, but this is our new normal. We expect bullshit to be spewed at all times, and we expect everything to be a lie that we hear, and we expect outrageousness, and we expect racism, and we expect misogyny, and nothing is shocking anymore, and yet it doesn't eliminate how disturbing and disappointing and infuriating it is. But shocking is never the word anymore, and that's really sad. And the thing of, like, Black people is like, what was oh my gosh, we posted it. Who was saying that? She's like, the reason that they're not afraid of the law enforcement at the Capitol is because they know they own it. Like, law enforcement.
Joy Reid.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Joy Reid. And it's like, they own the Capitol, they own law enforcement. And then there were all these memes going around about, for anyone who knows Hannah Montana, that show where she's like a pop star, but she has her secret life. She's a pop star, but then like two people and no one knows.
She doubles as like a normie, and so it's
like, for everybody who's wondering where the law enforcement is during this, have you ever seen Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus on stage at the same time? It's like, it's the same person. They can't be at both places. And that's really what it is. And like, it's being proved over and over and over, more than we could ever hope to prove to people how much white supremacy is ingrained. It's what our entire country stands on. And we keep trying to, we being like, people like you and me keep trying to shout this at the rooftops. And yet they're proving our point better than anyone ever could. And it's not getting through.
Yeah, and an extra fuck you, because this is just like salt in a wound to all this shit, is like motherfuckers like Matt Gaetz and anybody that's like, oh no, this could be like Tucker Carlson being like, this could be Antifa. This is probably Antifa, like in disguise as Trump supporters. I'm just like, have you seen? First of all, no. FBI says no, it's already debunked. And like, you see one picture of these motherfuckers like with no fucking teeth. And I don't care. All tea, all shade, come for me. I don't give a fuck. There's, baby, they're missing. Their eyes are like this. They're missing all their front teeth. They have shirts that say like, 6 million wasn't enough. I mean, like the 6 million that was killed in Holocaust. They had Auschwitz camp shirts on. Like, they're doxing themselves. This one guy literally wore his lanyard and ID to his job, like his official like job ID. Like he wore that, and like he was obviously it was just like, we're not that dumb. We don't. No. It's just like, no shit, these people are going to lie to you about a rigged election. They're lying to you that and Antifa's doing this when people are on Parler taking videos of themselves, taking selfies of them being like, we have a revolution, let's storm the Capitol. Like, what are you talking about?
All the fraternity houses that I knew in college, that's exactly what the Capitol building looked like the other day, plus like a dead body. But, right, it really was like just a bunch of frat boys at a drunken party with the outfits they were wearing, the things they were doing, just stealing shit for the fun of it, taking selfies, just messing stuff up because you can, and you're just like throwing a little tantrum, and that like you're not going to be thrown off campus because you're in a fraternity. Like, it's just, that's all this is.
It's just like that. Have you seen the pictures of the people scaling the wall?
Yes.
They didn't have to do that because the stairs are right next to it. And what they were doing was fulfilling some sort of weird prophecy that they like to talk about. I don't know. It's so funny. It's like scaling. This guy scaled a wall. There's one video of a guy trying to scale it, and this one guy is like trying to help him up, and he falls. And I'm like, you could have just taken the stairs.
Someone put the Mario video game music to it, and he like falls off the wall, and it's like when you lose your life.
It's such a joke, and we just have to laugh, but it's so sad. It's so fucking sad.
Honestly, like, thank God for Georgia right now.
Thank God.
And one thing, at the end of the day, the South is not all red. The South is suppressed.
Thank you. There's no such thing as red states. It's just suppressed states. Fuck you. This is what
at the end of the day, when the turnout shows up and Black people get the opportunity to vote.
And brown people. There was a great Latino vote too.
Yeah. All, at the end of the day, it's like Black and brown people, and it's just a whole, it's like when you go down to the South, it's predominantly Black and brown people in a lot of areas.
Mississippi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Alabama, Arkansas. Like, why do you think, and yet they're red states, but the thing is, there's all these loopholes, and the foothold of slavery still honestly stands because there are opportunities that are just completely blocked from these people. And a lot of that comes with disenfranchisement. And so when this happens, it's not like, whoa, where did all these people? No, these people live there. These are not completely locked in red states. These are suppressed states. Yeah. And Stacey Abrams is a goddess.
Yeah, these states just don't have a Stacey Abrams that shine a light on it. And that's why I love, like, Stacey Abrams so much for obviously all the work that she does, but it kind of shines a light on what a true politician could be. Like, I think about, like, in New York, Cynthia Nixon, who plays Miranda on Sex and the City. Obviously love her. But she ran for governor against Cuomo. And I was, like, hoping for her, to get a little bit more progressive blood in there. And her platform was just, like, fixing the subways, which needed it. Still do. Let's fix the subways. She lost by a little bit, I think. But she definitely lost. And she didn't, like, take to the streets with a hammer or any sort of platform and fix the subways. Stacey Abrams lost to Kemp and said what she was going to do, which was fix and fix voter suppression in her state, and she did that, and that's an actual fucking politician.
Also, I really do want to point out, because all of that is true, and she is doing. How many times are we going to rely on Black women to save us when they are the least helped and supported population in this country? And all the people, like, and to be clear, this is not to take, obviously Stacey Abrams deserves all the flowers she's getting and people, but like, it's also a tired, Black women have been doing these things, have been saving all our asses. And yet at the end of the day, they're still the most disenfranchised group.
Yep.
And it's just, you can praise, and we should praise Stacey Abrams all that we can and all that we want, but like, some goddamn non-Black women need to be doing the same things that she's doing, because it's not all on them. They actually have the least reason to do that when you look at how they've been treated in this country.
Yeah, it's the most disenfranchised, least respected group that does the work for everybody else, whether it's Black women, for all races, trans people, for the LGBT community. It's just like, no matter what, like, we have to rely on them to educate everybody else. It's fucking sad. It's
people
so
use
fucking
their
sad.
Achievements and their education as an excuse to not take the responsibility on themselves. Because, I am learning these things. I'm learning them because Stacey Abrams is teaching. Great. Now, what do you do with that? Because at the end of the day, that's just reinforcing. So I just need to remind people, like, yeah, thank God for her. And also, then what? Like, take it a step further and look at your life, your responsibility, your privilege, wherever you are in the world, whatever you have. Understand that a Black woman can do that, then you sure as hell have no excuse to do anything less. And so, yeah, that's her.
I just thank God we got Georgia. Thank God we got. He's going to be the first president since, I think, 1930, maybe earlier than that, to lose the presidency, the House, and the Senate. Bye. And that's the thing, too. It's like, all you Republicans, you want to talk about voter suppression and, like, voter fraud? Of course there's voter fraud. There's voter fraud against Black and brown and disenfranchised people in so many states. If you like, yes, it exists, but not for you idiots. Like, what?
I mean, honestly, the Electoral College in and of itself could be considered voter fraud because of how it works nowadays and it has literally never benefited Democrats. It is the way it is set up. It's antiquated. So if you want to talk about voter fraud or unfair elections, let's take a look at the Electoral College and we'll start there.
Yeah, they're just so afraid of they're like, oh, then every election's going to be voted on by California because we're the most populous state. And I'm like, oh well.
Looks like then the more people who vote for, you know what's actually going to, they're terrified because most people in this country want similar things, but they don't want us to think that.
Oh yeah.
Because the more divisive they can be, the more power they hold. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, the Electoral College really, really holds that down for them. So that's got to go.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, there was even a Fox News exit poll that they did on Election Day on Fox News. So these are Fox News viewers that voted in this poll. And it was all just like different policies, like environment and, maybe not environment, but it was like the, $2,000 stimulus checks, obviously they're for it. So many other things that were like all progressive policies that they were like for, and yet they voted for Trump. You know what I mean? Obviously these people voted for Trump. It makes no sense. They're being lied to.
Policies that are put out there are on the Democratic side because the Republicans don't have policies.
No.
They just fearmonger and tell you, oh, no, socialism, they're gonna take away all your guns and they're gonna. But when it comes to actually when you're forced to do you agree with this policy or not? The only real policies they have to look at are the Democratic ones, and they make sense. Yeah. So
I was hearing this, the one guy made a video. It was fucking perfect, and I'm gonna botch it talking about it, but he basically broke down the difference between the left and the right and how the left politics basically boiled down to, and I forget the word, but it's a synonym for progressiveness. It's I forget the word. It's perfect, but progressive. Everything is about the future, thinking about what we can make better. And the right politics boiled down to reactionary. Like everything the right does is reactionary, thinking into the past, how we can make things better like the past was.
Make America great again.
Exactly. It was brilliant. It was beautiful how it was described.
I also saw a thing that was, because we now, we being Democrats control all three. It was like, by God, he did it. He did make America great again.
Yeah. So he did it. He fucking did it.
Well, he did it.
Wow. Give it up.
Give it up. Here we are. Give it up.
Here's to you, Trump. I should have wine.
I know.
Anyway.
All I have so far is tea. But yeah, thank you guys for, decompressing with us. Hopefully, we let out some steam, obviously. Hopefully it kind of, we're able to too. We're all processing this. And please,
and every month we wanted
with.
Oh, yeah. Every month we want to like be talking about what's going on because it's just like there's so much going on and we got to vent about it. And I know
we got to vent about it, and we are very passionate, you and I, and our beliefs, and we're really, really intense about this, as you all know at this point. And so it doesn't make sense for us to have a platform and not shout from the rooftops what we believe. And so yeah, I thank you guys so much for listening. And sticking with us. This is our second year. We're going on to our second year, and our goal for this year is to grow to our next level. So
level up. Anyway, shout out Black Lives Matter. Go to blacklivesladder.com.
Ladder?
Did I say ladder?
I think so.
I don't know anymore.
Guys, don't listen to her.
blacklivesmatter.com, because white supremacy, y'all.
The bitch.
Alive and well. Like
it's flourishing.
It's just I was watching this. I was like on the phone with my friend Erin, and then Ryan. I was like, this is the most racist act I've ever seen in my life, watching these white people storm this. I mean, we just talked about this for 40 minutes. I don't know. Anyway, Black Lives Matter. Donate. And follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at the SOS Pod.
Yeah, please leave reviews, and please start sending us DMs with things you want to talk about, or if we said something that you want to talk about with us, be in a community with us. Help us grow our community.
Yeah, we like y'all. We like y'all.
Do. So, I'm Molly Cottrell.
We love doing our outros. I'm Alyssa Rosano.
And here's to turning meltdowns into magic.